FX presents the Indu Podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indubians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Kortney.
This is the Indu Podcast, where morning drive time meets late night talk show as we aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. We're recording live from the south side of Wakanda in Little New Indubia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive. Kortney, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am pretty good. I don't know why. I started to feel like I was going into a little bit of Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm there. Just a pretty good. I don't know. Do you watch that show?
No, but I understand the reference.
Okay. Sometimes I do the explaining, not for you, but sometimes our dear listener may not be, savvy to some of our obscure references. So glad. I've only watched maybe like the first two seasons, and they're on like season 42 now. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Nice.
So yes, you're good. I'm good. What's anything new? Anything exciting?
Nothing really new. Nothing. Life is just kind of chugging along, Nothing really just super exciting happening.
Okay. I just have to check in, because sometimes you might have a thing like, hey, this happened, which by the way, something did happen. But it feels like it was so long ago. That's why I'm just bringing it back to memory. But do tell me about FIYACON, but in a moment, because it also is the day that we're recording this. It's the kid's birthday. I probably said his name before, so I'll just go ahead and say it now. Ken, it's his birthday. It's his 6th birthday today.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And
happy birthday, kid.
Happy birthday to my special kid. Sorry. He grows up so fast. He's literally growing up like he is taller than his peers. I went to my first open house and he was taller than them. Actually, there was a girl taller than him. So that was also interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just a big kid. But FIYACON also happened, which you attended. Did you go virtually? Was that it was a virtual thing?
Yeah. So that was the only option, was virtual.
Okay.
This year and last year. So
first of all, what is FIYACON?
So FIYACON is born from I think it's Fire Lit magazine, which is a publication that caters to and really tries to highlight BIPOC individuals or writers and artists and creators. And so FIYACON is just the conference that they put on. So that's essentially it. But also they cater to like speculative writers, so sci-fi and fantasy, horror, things like that are the types of publications and the types of literature and art that they really highlight.
Okay. Anything of note, like something that stuck out to you, or any kind of either artist or anything that you grasped from it? Did you get any inspiration? Anything like that?
Oh yeah, tons of inspiration. It's too much to kind of try to focus in on, because it was just literally from Friday morning through Sunday night. It was just nonstop programming, because they did this last year, but they really focused a lot more on Bonfire, which is the late night stuff. Well, it's late night for me here in the US, but that was mainly for folks who are not here in the West, where it's like the middle of the day for them. So essentially there was, I think they said about 60 straight hours of programming that was available. And so Unfortunately, I did miss some of the later stuff because it was in the middle of the night for me, but it is archived, so I can go back and watch it probably soon. I think they said only a couple of weeks after FIYACON, and we're at a couple weeks later. So just a lot of really good information, a lot of good discussions, a lot of like great panels and things, and just good fellowshipping. It's always a good time to be with or be around and commune with others who are kind of like you or different from you even, but are kind of, they have similar goals, which is to write their best stuff and put their best stuff out there. So it was very, very just a good time for that. So
this is just popped in my head, but do you ever see yourself like maybe hosting not like a panel or something like this?
Maybe. I don't know about hosting, but I know
moderating. I'm sorry, that was the word I was looking for. I couldn't remember what word. That was the word I was looking for. Moderating.
See myself moderating. Yeah, I definitely. One thing that I always, well, especially this year, I got from FIYACON is I want to do more in the community and for the community, and I want to make more connections because community is so important, especially when it comes to the creative arts. It can be very lonely and it can be very discouraging, and that is one of the biggest takeaways that I took away from the conference was get your community and your support system in place. Surround yourself with folks who get it and who can be there for you, and that you can be there for them, and not just because of the hard times, but just because it's good to be able to swap your pieces and get feedback from others and just get perspective from somebody that's outside of you.
Right.
So I always just get a lot from it, and this year was definitely no exception. So it was just a great time. I always leave so full and a little overwhelmed because it's just so much information and so much, but full and overwhelmed in the best possible way,
Yeah, that's great. Like I feel similar in the con that I also recently virtually attended because it was only virtual, and I'm blanking now because I really can't remember what it was. Like I'm not what it was, but like what it was called. But the theme definitely was like Afro-futuristic art, definitely art, because I know they talk to voice actors, they talk to comic book creators. There was a panel that I was so upset that I missed, but like scientists that were nerdy in the best sense, or rather maybe geek would be the term perhaps, but they were definitely like finding the science within some of these comics that we love to read and just tear apart. Like, what kind of material does the Hulk have to wear in order for his shorts to, keep its shape or just not completely rip off, especially if he is growing big, but then comes back to being human sized, and I don't know. So there's questions like that knowledgeable people would probably have an answer to. So I missed that panel, but I think that's also somewhere available in the archives that I can probably check. I just need to remember the name of it and go look into it. But I'm so glad that, like, again, out of these COVID times, we do have things that still continue, or different ways that people can still participate in these cons like this. And those are some of the positives out of such a interesting time that we're in these days.
Right. So. Yeah, I agree. And I mean that because the con was done so well last year, but they only just, grew and did even better than before. And so there were situations where there were times where it felt like, an in-person con might, like we had to, so there was some technical issues on the first day, and it's not a big deal. But there were some technical issues. And so somebody mentioned, oh my gosh, like we couldn't get into the session. And if somebody commented and was like, it's almost like when you had to wait outside for the condors to open, and it was so exciting. And I'm like, that's exactly what it is. It wasn't a frustrating, not for us, I'm sure for the staff, it was a little nerve wracking, and because this is not a free conference, we had to pay to be there, and a lot of people were waiting on it, and so I'm sure that it was pretty nerve wracking on their end, but for us as the participants, for at least from what I was experiencing, is nothing but support and just excitement, just anticipation of getting it started. And it's just really, really awesome experience, awesome community altogether.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you got to attend that and got to be among some peers and get some good nuggets, and not even nuggets, but it sounded like you had like full meals since you walked away with so much. You're so much to take away from.
Right. Awesome.
I am looking forward to one day, because I asked you if you would ever want to moderate a panel, and that's something that I've just been thinking about in general. I was like, yeah, that'd be something fun, interesting, and new to do, and eventually bringing this podcast to a con if I ever get the chance to be invited to do so, which of course I would have to let you know first and foremost. Probably, of course, talk to Ashley. If it's something that we would have to be there to do, then like I would really want to do that, because I feel like that's just like, I don't want to say a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it's one of those, for me, those benchmarks, like, ooh, we made it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Having done like a couple live shows at the church, like that was a lot of fun. So doing that like in a larger kind of venue, I think that'd be that'll be a fun time. And
absolutely,
I do miss the cons, even though I'm speaking for us. We only went to one, although I did go to PodCon, but still we've got the con culture, the con culture. Still think about PodCon, which won't be back anymore. Yeah, they're not going to do any more PodCons.
Oh,
yeah, it does. But we'll move on to less things that suck. And I'm just going to go ahead and get into Florida or Floridon't, the newest segment on the pod. I know I introduced another one, which I actually cut out of that episode of You're Doing the Most, that segment, because I kind of kept forgetting to look for stories that would be doing the most. I have more fun looking for stories that may or may not be from Florida. So Are you ready to play Florida or Floridon't?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Let me move over to my... Now again, for newcomers to the game, I read the headline and my fellow co-host will guess if this takes place in Florida or not. Now, if it takes place, or sometimes it's the person, the quote unquote Florida man, which I will leave out where the man or woman is from. So let us begin. I'm actually going to give you 4 stories today. Because I really try to limit it to 3, but I'm going to give you 4.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Sorry, I was waiting for it to load. Wait, is this the right one? Yeah, it is, because I was upset because it didn't give me the whole story. Here we go. A naked woman was trapped inside a storm drain, then someone called 911. Florida or Floridon't?
Definitely Florida.
You are correct.
I knew it.
It just had that definitely kind of Florida vibe to it.
Definitely a Florida scenario for sure.
Okay, let me go to the next one. Naked woman rescued from inside storm drain after man heard her desperate cries for help.
Florida.
Yes. Florida. Yes.
Da, 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 da. Nice.
Let's go to the next one here. Naked woman rescued from storm drain. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Because that's definitely Florida again.
Firefighters rush to rescue woman trapped in storm drain. That's the headline. Florida. Or
Floridon't. I'm gonna go with Florida.
I'm sorry, this one was in Georgia.
So 2 in Florida and 1 in Georgia, but basically the same story.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And now here's your 4th one.
Okay.
Woman found naked in storm drain is rescued again. Florida or Floridon't.
What? Floridon't?
Are you sure?
Yes. No, but that's my answer.
You are correct. This took place in Texas. However, the first story I read to you, it is that woman.
So it happened the first time in Florida. Then the same woman later has to get rescued from a storm drain, but in a different state. She's taking it on the road now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Although
technically she's found in the Texas tunnels, but I mean, I guess she must have got through the storm drains. So
tomato at this point.
I guess. I mean, and I didn't read this entire article, so I don't know if she was found naked this time. But I just thought, because there's a whole story that I wanted to tell behind the fact that I was trying to, how I came across all of these stories. So I was building out, the rundown. I'm like, okay, let's do Floridon't, because I had a collection of stories, but I realized I didn't have any Floridian stories. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see what's going on in Florida. So I came across naked woman found in storage drain storage drain. I'm like, okay. So I try to read the article, but like, nope, you got to pay for this one. You got to subscribe. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I took the headline and I Googled it. And then I came up with all of these. And I'm like, why are so many, first of all, naked women? Okay. Not all of them were naked, because the third one was not. She was just.
But enough of them were naked, though.
Right. And the fact that there were women that were found in these storm drains. Yeah. Like, what's.
Is there any more information about, like, were they under some sort of influence of something? Were they having a breakdown of some sort? Like, is there any other information that would explain why they were in the storm drains? Okay.
For the most part. For the first one, not so much, even though she was found again, like in Texas. I guess she had been going to rehab. Maybe she must have left and went into the tunnels. I don't know. I said, I didn't read that one, but it is the same woman from the first story. And when I read that one, I didn't have any more information. So no one really knew why she was in there. But the bizarre part was she was in there for at least a couple days, maybe a couple weeks.
Oh no.
Yes.
And she survived. I mean, I guess you don't. Well, okay.
Right. The second woman, she, and I'm going based on memory at this point, because I've kind of closed out of the article, but I believe she might have been bound.
Oh.
And I think it was her boyfriend that may have hurt her.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she was later found, and she was at least cooperative in answering questions. The first woman, I don't think she was, but she was also wasn't sure how she got there or why. And then the one from Georgia, she was just described as elderly, and she just may have been not sure where she was either, wandered,
right, confused or something.
Right. Like her age wasn't given. The other ones, I think the first one was 43. The second one, I think maybe in her 20s or 30s. So yeah, sometimes maybe there's other influences at play, but
right.
I just found it weird that I'm like, hey, I just wanted to know about this one story because the headline is what grabbed me. Like, find out the bizarre reason why. And I'm like,
very compelling headlines.
Right. For sure. And I did not find the answer, the bizarre reason as to why she was down there, because apparently she didn't say. She didn't want to, or at least it wasn't included in that article. So, and I'm sure if I kept scrolling, I may have found maybe a fifth woman, maybe clothed, maybe not, in a storm drain.
Yeah.
Maybe in Florida, maybe not. But
who knows?
I just thought like, okay, this is this is what's going to be my Floridon't for this episode. And I'll save the next stories for next episode, because I think I had even one, I told you when we were on the phone, I think last week, I'm like, yeah, I already got material for this next episode because the world's crazy. And it's, I want to say literally burning down, but yes, we know that already, but just
right.
There's some craziness going on. So for the next episode, I will be ready. We may have possibly 5 stories because of those 3 stories I already have that don't take place in Florida. So I have to balance it out. You know, I got to keep you on your toes. I can't have them all in Florida or none in Florida, because
I mean, you really do, like, you do keep me on my toes with these stories, I'll say. Because I was like, wait, is there an echo in here? Why are we?
There's a theme.
Okay.
Can you catch the theme?
Okay.
Women in storage drains. Yeah, that's what we're about here. If you're a woman and you're not in a storage drain, I'm not interested. No. Yeah. I have no segue from that. So let's go to space. See if I can. Yes. I'm so sorry. And I don't even have my soundboard up or anything because I don't know, completely forgot. But we are going to space now. And I came across this article. I was very excited because I always had this question. Why do planets in the solar system orbit on the same plane?
Okay, say that one more time.
Yes, I was just letting you process. Why do planets in the solar system orbit on the same plane? As if like we're all on the same disk. Like if we could look at it at the next planet, it'd be like perpendicular to us. Perpendicular? Parallel?
Do we? I didn't think we did. But I guess I was wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. So, that's again the headline. I will to answer this question, we have to go back in time. That's everything got wavy for you, right? And you
did. I saw it. I was very scared for a second.
Technically, we're still wavy because I didn't say where we're going back in time to, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think we're going back to the Big Bang, perhaps a little after that. So if you ever gazed at a model of the solar system, you've likely noticed that the sun, planets, moon, and asteroids sit roughly on the same plane. But why is that? I don't know, article. That's why I'm reading it.
That's why we're reading, article. Come on, get to it.
Get with it. To answer this question, we have to travel to the very beginning of the solar system about 4.5 billion years ago. So that's a whole bunch of and I'm really hoping people are visualing like everything getting wavy and watery as we transport back in time.
That's what you do when you time travel.
Exactly. That's how it works. It's in Doctor Who all the time.
Right.
Which I think was going to be breaking news, but we'll get back to that later. Back then, the solar system was just a massive spinning cloud of dust and gas. Nader, that's a name I didn't even notice. Okay. I'll give it a shot. Haghaipor. Good Lord. You don't have a pen and paper handy, do you?
I don't. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I will spell it for you. So just in case. Haghaipor. Haghaipor. I don't know.
I think you did the name the best service.
I really did. And there is a service at the radio station I work at where you can type in names to see how they're pronounced. But I did not do that here. Mostly because I kind of skipped ahead to the interesting part where they actually answer the question. So either way, Nader is an astronomer at the University of Hawaii. And the massive cloud measured 12,000 astronomical units, or 1 AU. I guess that's how you pronounce it. 1 AU is the average distance between Earth and the sun, or about 93 million miles. These are measurements that I really can't fathom or like kind of imagine.
Yeah.
So when it comes to space,
it doesn't really compute for me either.
It doesn't. And once it gets like massive, and I think I've sent you some of these videos before where they kind of compare like stars or planets like to us or people. And once it goes on beyond, I don't know, even the sun, I'm like, okay, I can't wrap my head around this. It's too big.
Yeah.
So these
I'm
measure
the same way.
Right. So I feel better. So these units of measure of these 1 AUs, over my head, almost like literally.
Yeah.
Anyway, the cloud became so big that even though it was just filled with with dust and gas molecules, the cloud itself started to collapse and shrink under its own mass. As the spinning cloud of dust and gas started to collapse, it also flattened. Imagine a pizza maker throwing a spinning slab of dough into the air. As it spins, the dough expands but becomes increasingly thin and flat. That's what happened to the very early solar system.
Okay. I guess that doesn't answer my question of how does it stay that way? Like, I don't know.
I would posit a guess without reading further into this that's there would really be no reason for it to wobble unless there was some kind of outside force that like some kind of maybe planet-sized, planet, one of those rogue planets that you hear about sometimes, rough around the edges and like, don't follow no rules. One of those planets, they come out of nowhere and might possibly nick one of the other planets that's already in this disk.
Sure.
And maybe not enough to fall out of orbit, but at least to be spinning on its own axis or its own, orbit, just not with the rest of the other planets. I think that would be the only way.
I'm gonna need to research this more. Thank you.
No problem. But it once like that was kind of explained to me, then everything else kind of fell into place. Like, why like all the planets seem to be spinning the same way. And spinning at all is because the whole thing is spinning. Everything is turning.
Everything's turning.
Everything. And it's as the world turns, as the universe turns. That would be the galactic version of the soap opera when aliens are involved. So, so that's basically the short answer. The article does go on. I don't think it's that much longer. No, it's not really. Not that much longer. But that basically just answers the question. It kind of goes on further explaining how like the sun was formed and the other planets. See, as the sun grew, the cloud, I skipped a whole paragraph explaining the sun, but the cloud continued to collapse, forming a disk around the star that becomes flatter and flatter and expands with the sun at the center. Eventually, the cloud became a flat structure called a protoplanetary disk orbiting the young star. The disk stretched hundreds of, I'll just say miles, because it's that unit of measure that we can't understand. And that just 1/10 of that distance thick. Okay, so the cloud was very long, very flat, but still thick enough, like planet sized, like say, I don't know, as thick as the Earth. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. For tens of millions of years thereafter, the dust particles in the protoplanetary disk gently swirled around, occasionally knocking into each other. Some even stuck together. And over those millions of years, those particles became millimeter long grains. Then those grains became centimeter long pebbles, and the pebbles continued to collide and stick together. And we got Earth. Eventually, most of the material in the protoplanetary disk stuck together to form huge objects. Some of those objects grew so big that gravity shaped them into spherical planets, dwarf planets, Pluto, and moons.
Right.
Other objects became irregular shaped like asteroids, comets, and some small moons. Despite these objects' different sizes, they stayed more or less on the same plane where their building materials originated. That's why even today, the solar system's 8 planets, 9, and other celestial bodies orbit on roughly the same level.
Very interesting stuff. Thank you for that.
No problem. Because that was actually something that I've always been curious about, but never thought about to ask, let alone just this article randomly popping up one day on my feed. I'm like, tell me more. Live science.
Right.
So yeah, it was a great question with really like I want to say simple answer. Like I just never really thought about it. So I'm like, okay, yeah that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You don't really think about that a whole lot, right? It's not something that comes up. Not at least not for me, but it's good to know also.
It is. The other thing that I know that I had to like readjust my expectations for is always seeing the planet, or not the planet, but the solar system and how close the planets are to each other, which is not the case at all. Like,
right.
We're very, very far away from like Venus and Mars, let alone Jupiter. So all those diagrams we see with them being like an inch apart. Yeah, it's not the case.
Not the case at all. Yeah.
So
yeah. That doesn't help. That doesn't help with trying to figure out or trying to fathom how far things are too, because in the pictures, they don't look very far apart.
No, not at all. Like you would expect just to like look out like next to the moon. Oh, there's Jupiter right there. Just, just a stone's rocket away or something. So it's close enough, but no, not at all. It's very far away. And not only that, but everything is also orbiting around. So anytime like the movies talk about like once the planets align, which I guess maybe only happens every 2 million. I have no idea. I'm making up numbers, but, but yeah, that's, I don't want to say it's unlikely, but I'm sure it happens or it can happen. But that's when the magic happens. That's when we get our powers.
Obviously. This time of the year, really. Really,
but we'd have to wait, and that's happening next year on this time. So keep a lookout. That's not true. I'm making up more stories.
Dang it. I thought it was true. You got me.
I mean, that's what I'm here for, just to entertain. This is an entertainment podcast. It's not for actual true facts.
Gotcha.
Except what I read in the article. That was true. But everything else after that, I know. Just, and I have to be careful because I do tell people some things and I will say it in such a way that they take me seriously. And then I'll be like, no, I've made all that up. Like that bird that I made up does not exist. It's not true. Because I have done that before. And
how many people have you lied to today, Sterling?
Today?
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you on that number because it could be quite a few.
Gotcha.
Because every time people tell me, I mean, hey, people will come to me at work like, hey, how's your day going? I'm like, fantastic. And it's I'm not saying it's a complete lie, but like it was,
not a fantastic day though, huh?
It's not fantastic. Like it's okay. Like I'm overselling it.
Yeah.
That's not really a lie. It's just massaging the truth a little bit. Like I want them to feel good. So I'm trying to have them have a fantastic day. Like my joy is radiating. So now you're feeling fantastic. When really I'm just meh.
Yeah, you're just meh.
Right. So if I say meh.
That doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well as, great day.
It doesn't. And then if I said, if I'm meh, then that's going to roll on them. And they're like, oh. And then they're going to be down and
then it's just awkward for everybody.
It is. So I'm trying to do my part and make the world better and tell them this massage truth that I'm great. I'm fantastic. And you should be fantastic too. Because I'm fantastic.
I will say when I ask you how your day is or how you're doing, please don't lie to me.
Oh, no.
I know the truth.
I never lie to you. I always tell you the truth.
Okay. Yeah. Just making sure.
Right. I mean, because we've known each other for millions of years, as we established before.
Millions.
I don't know if it was on the podcast or it was on the phone, but we've discussed this the many years that we've known each other. So
millennia now. So
right.
No need to lie.
Right. I mean, which is why it's surprising that you didn't know about the whole plane, the spatial plane that we discussed, because we were there. You should have seen it.
I had the front row seats.
Yes, or you just weren't looking. You're reading a book. Maybe, I don't know.
I slept since then,
Yeah, it was nap time. I'm sorry, it was nap time because we were young. We were children. Yes. We're gonna move along to our Black History fact because I have no segues for anything today.
Okay.
I had a plethora to choose from, and I'm really trying to hold out to reading some of these facts because I'm waiting for. Okay, it's still September, but I'm waiting for November. The reason why is because there is a film that you and I are both excited to see. Because I do remember showing this trailer to you for The Harder They Fall. Matter of fact, I wish I remember what you called it. because it was not The Harder They Fall. It was
It wasn't correct.
it wasn't correct. It was some other turn of phrase that
Yeah.
but it was hilarious. I wish I wrote it down. So those who don't know, The Harder They Fall is basically a Black Western that's coming to Netflix November 3rd, I believe. I think I looked it up. It's a Wednesday.
It is November, because I did write it down. Or maybe I didn't. It's not in my calendar. But it is in November sometime. So we can go with the 3rd. That works for me.
Okay. But yes, I'm ecstatic because it has the King, Regina King, in it, amongst many other beautiful Black people. So
prominent, beautiful Black people.
Oh yes, prominent, yes. And I'm here for it. Like I do have I don't want to say a mild interest. I like Westerns, some of them. Like my favorite one is Tombstone. And I think the reason is because of Val Kilmer and his role as Doc Holliday. So if you ever do watch that movie, or if you know what I'm talking about, then hey, that's the great one. As for maybe a more classic Western, I would say The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, which I know is the 3rd in a trilogy, the part 3. But honestly, I haven't seen the first 2, but either way, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But it's good. I like it. So like I said, with my short list of Westerns, I do believe this is one that I feel like already it's going to make that list. Maybe my expectations are a little too high right now because of the cast, but I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited for this one too. I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm not a big Western person. I'm just not, but I'm open to watching anything with any of those people in it. And so if they're in it, I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay. Should Tombstone come up on like any kind of streaming? I don't know if it is. I didn't even look. I want to look right now, but I don't want to get away from the page that I'm on because I know how easily I can be distracted. So I will check that out after. I say all of that because I came across a thread of Black cowboys.
Ooh, nice.
Because maybe it may not necessarily be common knowledge to everyone, but according to history, there was like 1 in 4 cowboys that are way out in the Wild West. 1 in 4 of them were usually Black men. So
really,
yes. So there are a handful of notable ones, but the one I really wanted to highlight, I'm going to wait. I'm going to save it until November. So we can kind of celebrate the movie. And then it's like, well, here's a real cowboy for you, a real hootin' tootin'. And, I'm doing finger guns. I don't know why. I'm just getting into it because I'm excited. So, but yeah, let me pick one here. So another Western, technically, yeah, it is a Western. I don't mind it. Django Unchained from Quentin Tarantino, however you feel about him. I don't like his face, but that's neither here nor there. He's got his mouth. It's just it's always like trying to like grossly kiss you. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway,
he's got a long chin too. Maybe his face is just kind of long and pointy.
It could be that too. Between the chin and then the always like pursed lips, just puckered.
Yeah, that's it. It's weird.
It is. I mean, I like the guy. I know people find him problematic and his writing and everything, but I like his movies. And that's just one of those things. I'm just gonna. There's this whole thing going on, and this was something I kind of wanted to bring up. I think last episode, maybe I touched on a little bit, but with everything, there's always like some problematic thing about it, and nothing's going to be perfect, and no one in it or everyone involved, there's always going to be some problem with it, and I can't let that keep me from enjoying whatever is put out in the world.
Yeah, agreed.
And that kind of came up with Shang-Chi, if I'm pronouncing it right, because there was a whole bunch of problems with the main actors in it. And yes, as problematic as it is, I still really enjoy the movie. So yeah, I mean, and to each their own. If you can separate art from artists, then power to you, because sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So there's certain people who believe they can fly, and we're going to be going to jail for a very long time. But I can't listen to their music anymore because I just can't separate the art from artists for them. So in jail they go.
Yeah, it's as he should.
It was a what? I'm sorry.
I said as he should.
Oh, as he should. Yes, I agree. Yes. So that was fun news when that was announced. But we'll back to our Black History fact for today. I mentioned Quentin Tarantino because Django Unchained is loosely based on this person. His name is Dangerfield Newby. And he was a member of the John Brown gang. I'm kidding. That's not what it's. It's actually the John Brown Raiders. The John Brown Raiders. And still doing my finger guns and doing a little hip swivel in my chair because yeah. Anyway, you got to get into the character of one of the Raiders and like bang bang and give me your money. I don't know. He joined the gang to save his wife, Harriet, and children from slavery. It's just a blurb. I don't have his whole backstory, but he's got some. Are these mugshots or just pictures? I guess they're just pictures, but I mean, something about those old timey ones where they just look haunted. They just have this haunting look in their face, like they've seen things or they're looking at you, or both. Whew, it's haunting. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send this to you so you can see it.
So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much.
I had to keep you in the loop so you can fully see what I'm seeing, and have him haunt your dreams or something. I don't know.
Thank you so much for taking me on this journey with you.
I mean, I have to, and I'll say you should be very happy right now that everything is taking forever to load. Because I know you're in here. Well, keep a lookout. It's coming, and you're going to see it.
Sounds good, I guess.
Yeah, get excited. I'm excited for you. I'm typing.
By the way, The Harder They Fall does come out on November 3rd.
Okay.
Wednesday, November 3rd.
Because I was debating or even considering, like, should I take the day off? Like, no, it's not a TV series. So let me calm all the way down, because it's as excited as I am. It's like, okay, I don't think I need to take the day off for it.
I mean, but maybe as the day comes closer, you can think on it a little more.
Right.
Don't say no just yet.
You're right. And it might not just be just for that, but just taking the day off, just because maybe I just need a day off, like a break. So I just need And while I'm taking a break, I can watch this movie. So it all works out. There we go. Yes, all that time I was looking for your name. Okay, sent it to you. So.
Ooh, this is very creepy. I don't like it. Hey, look at his eyes. Oh God, no! Don't look at his eyes. No. Wow. He's seen a lot. Those are the eyes that have seen a lot.
They have, and he is out for vengeance. He's going to get his wife back, get his wife and his kids back. You better not get in his way. Right. Because you talk too much and you're going to have a couple extra like holes in your face or something. So, because he'll do it. All right. I think I did that. Guess we'll kind of slow things down a little bit and kind of step into our room of gratefulness. And I have to say that I am grateful for quite a few things, but I think I'll start out with the men's group at my church. They're called the Men of Integrity. We recently had a meeting, and like this podcast is over Zoom. So we all kind of just got together and just talking about stuff. And I was going through something like in the past week, and they were really there for me. Like they gave me a lot of like support and just encouragement. And I am just really grateful for them and being able to just talk to just other men that, I mean, they kind of came out and said, Hey, we went through that same thing too. And, we're there for you. You're going to make it. You're going to be okay. So I'm just grateful for them and, just leaning on them and their support. And with that, I will say to anyone listening that it's good to have a community. And Kortney, you talked about it earlier, having just a community of people you can just either bounce ideas off of or just people just to talk to, just to help you get through things. And I know between you and a few of our other mutual friends, we have to remind ourselves to kind of give ourselves grace and be gentle with ourselves, because it's been a rough year, 2 years, 4, 5.
Yeah.
It's been rough for quite a while. So it's good to, lean on other people, the ones that you trust, of course, just not any stranger or naked person in a drain, but anyone just that you feel close to, because we're not in this alone. So it's rough out there. So find your people, find your community, and don't be afraid to open up.
Amen to that.
Anything you are grateful for this day or week or month?
Yes, I am. I'm grateful for my support system. You, Daniel, my mom, some other friends in my life. I'm grateful for the support that I have constantly, folks who just check on me, even if we hadn't talked in a while, things like that. So I'm very much grateful for that support system, because we really, like you said, we really can't do life alone. We need people, and we need a good group of people surrounding us, through good times and bad times. So I'm just grateful for this support network that I do have.
I'm glad you have one. I'm glad to be part of it. Oh, oh, got all warm inside and fuzzy.
Warming the cold cockles of your heart.
I know.
Did I say that right?
You did. Because, I have got to get those back cold again, because, got to be tough out there in these streets.
Whatever.
Can't let people know that, oh, he cares. Oh, he's got a heart. Although what is funny to me is that a lot of people at work think I'm very quiet until they kind of get to know me, or they hear that I have a podcast, and then they're like, oh no, he's not quiet at all. He's very chatty. So how could you have a podcast and not be, unless you just do what I happen to now do at the radio station, where I talk very little on the radio station. It's mostly just playing the music and the programs, and I just come in and tell you, hey, it's 10 o'clock, go to bed, and next song. So I don't do that. No, I just give you the weather, move on. Do you have any recommendations? Anything you've seen or you read, listened to, that you'd like to tell people they should check out? Need a minute to think about it?
Well, if you're into anime, I'm sure you know this, but I just learned of the Funimation streaming app. I think it's like $5. I don't know. Daniel knows about it. But you can find, from what I understand, at least I found my shows, but I was able to find my shows in English dubs, which is very nice, because I was watching one of my favorite shows, Dr. Stone, and it's subtitled, which I'm fine with, but the way it was set up, I was only able to watch it, it's a very first world problem, mind you. But I could only watch the show while in bed, and that's my sleeping place.
Right.
So I would watch the show in bed and fall asleep every time, because I would have to read and be in my comfy place. So that wasn't a good mix for me. But now with the Funimation streaming app, I'm able to watch the show and just watch it without having to also think and read. So best of both worlds. And this post is not sponsored by Funimation. It should be, though.
It should be. And slowly kind of working on that one day. Not necessarily by Funimation, but just sponsors in general. I mean, hey, dear listener, if you'd love to sponsor us and, I don't know, give us money, that's also an option. And we'll talk about whatever you want. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. If you want to give us like $20 for us to talk about gummy bears, then by all means, because I mean, Kortney, you know that I can sit here and talk about gummy bears for a while. I have a whole bag that's sitting next to me. Well, a few feet away from me. And there's 12 assorted flavors. And in fact, you shared with me, I think, a tweet of somebody who had the same like product, but failed to see the value in what. Never mind. It's not a sponsor. Pay us $20 and we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Anyway, yes. My follow-up question to you, though, which I feel like you answered, but do you prefer dub or sub? Do you have or do you? It just depends on what you're watching.
Well, no, it depends on what I'm doing. So so most of the time if I'm watching a new show, I am just watching the show. And so I'm not trying to multitask, but there are times where, me, I like to rewatch things. So having it dubbed is easier so I can move around and do other things and listen to the show that I've already seen while still keeping up with it. Whereas if it's subbed, I have to pay more attention, which is fine, but except for when I'm in bed and it's later, and I don't do well with late nights anyway. I don't know that I'm an early bird, but I'm definitely not a night owl. So trying to watch TV and read the subs, it just does not work for me.
Well, we've long established that the both of us were already old and elderly. So yeah. I mean, it's already past our bedtime. Like the sun just went down and like
it's getting there.
I mean, I should be under the covers, like right under my chin, like it's bedtime. Like, where's my tea? They are.
I am currently recording with a blanket around me in preparation for bedtime.
You almost sound like you're under the blanket, like just like.
Yeah. Oh, I'm under the blanket. Yeah, very comfy.
No, I meant like completely under the blanket. Like you're just a hump. Like if somewhere like a fly on the wall. Like what is she like in a tent? Like what's happening? So
yeah, it's a self tent. Yeah. Solo tent.
Whereas I'm here trying to look all professional for nobody. I mean, except for the puppy who is just sitting. Well, he's in bed too, but he's always in bed. Something about dogs is they just always look like, wow, you look like you're getting the best sleep. Like I'm so jealous of that.
They have no worries in life. That's what it is.
You know what? That's what it is. There's no stress other than maybe the vacuum. And what we learned this past week, because I don't think I mentioned this on the podcast, but she's been staying with me at the apartment this past week. And he'll go off to send Ken to school, not by himself. He's not like, it's like, okay, human boy, let's go to school. But no, he will accompany Ashley. And then what we learned is that he's afraid of the bus. Like, I guess because it's big and it's loud and he already doesn't like loud things. And he's a small little thing. In fact, my mother-in-law called him a rat today, but that's okay. It's not the first time I've heard that. So that's fine. I'm not offended and he doesn't care. So we're all good.
Thanks.
But I think you're definitely onto something, that they have very little cares and little worries, little stresses, except for whatever is happening immediately, such as a vacuum or a broom or things that they just genuinely don't like. Some of them don't like water. So I'm like, oh, nope, I don't like this. I'm stressed out. And now I'm shedding all over the place because I hate it. So, yeah. So, yeah, they do get the best sleep.
Yep.
And then we sit here and be jealous, but also like, we don't deserve them. Puppies.
We really don't. But they make our lives so much better and they just love us unconditionally. So we should just accept it and treat them with all the best treatments in the world. Give them all the best food, all that stuff.
Well, the food that's good for them, because I was tempted to give him some of my fries from earlier, but I don't want to give him, diabetes. Sorry. I was trying to get the right pronunciation. See, I'm telling you, it's already past our bedtimes and words are hard. TM. When you were saying anime, I thought you were going to go in the direction of the Star Wars Visions that has recently been released on Disney Plus. I've watched 2/3 of them because they're all short films. It's very similar in the vein to, I think it's Love, Death, and Robots, which I have not watched the second series or second season yet. Volume. I'm sorry, second volume. And it's also like the Animatrix. So it's definitely worth checking out. Like I said, I've only got 2/3 in, and I'm really liking it so far.
Nice.
Do check out the Patreon or the Love Blurds podcast, because we'll have a review when we finish. So take a look out for that. But my recommendation is not that, because I haven't finished it. My recommendation is a movie called Kate on Netflix. So Kate. Kate. Kate.
Okay.
It's starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think maybe it's Mary Beth. Either way, she is the she's been going in this trajectory of doing action films, which I like, because the last movie I saw her in was Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey and the fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. And she played Huntress. So this same actress is now a assassin out to kill whoever killed or wronged her and poisoned her. And she's got like less than 24 hours to find them and exact her revenge. So I really enjoyed this. It's following this interesting trend I've been watching lately of lady assassins, which I'm loving it, because first there was, well, I don't want to say first was this. The most recent is Kate. Before this was a movie called Gunpowder Milkshake, which is starring Karen Gilliam. Have you watched that one?
List. Oh no, but it is on my watch list.
This is a great double feature. So carve yourself out. It may sound daunting, but carve yourself out 4 hours to watch these movies back to back. Okay. And you'll thank me. Or if you don't have the 4 hours, 2 hours one night and then 2 hours the next night. So that way you have, a good window, good time to watch them both, because they are great. I will say to exclude the film Jolt on Amazon Prime, because this is also in the same vein of like a female assassin, but it's not that great. It's just my opinion. I didn't like it as much.
Gotcha.
I also didn't care that much for Atomic Blonde, which came out a couple years prior. It's not a bad movie, but it's not great. I feel like all of these are all trying to be the female version of John Wick, some of which kind of go off in their own territory and do their own thing, like Kate and Atomic Blonde. No, not Atomic Blonde, Gunpowder Milkshake. So they're in their own category. Another misstep, a misfire, a huge misfire. Wow. Let me calm down, because I feel bad saying it that strongly. Oh my God, what is it called? It's not called Foxy Brown. It's Taraji P. Henson. She did a movie like this too. And Proud Mary. That's what it is. But I'm not alone in that one. A lot of people were disappointed when that came out, because it looked like another female assassin, which she is, but it's very boring. I feel so bad. I wanted that movie to be so much better than what it was. Anyway, Kate. Sorry. Yes, I'm recommending Kate. Do check out that film. And that is my recommendation to you, or all of you, not just you, Kortney, but all of you. So put that on your list after Atomic. I keep saying Atomic. Gunpowder Milkshake. Milkshake. Yes. Okay. Done. Yes. So if you after you watch Gunpowder Milkshake, if you liked that, then definitely, check out Kate. So yeah, that is all that I have. Do you have anywhere you want people to find you? Do you want to be found? Sometimes, especially these days, I just don't want to be perceived. But on the days that I do, you can find me on the Twitters at I am Hey Hinton. Good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor in finding me. That sounded way more ominous than I wanted it to. Because the way I was reading was like, maybe if you send me a message, I might respond. I might not. Exactly. Because if you look like right, if you look anything like a Dangerfield newbie, then you might not get a response. What if I change that to my profile picture? Do it. I dare you. I just might. You can find me on all things at Indoob. I do have this new thing called a bio site. I think it's actually still fairly pretty new, this whole bio site thing. And I don't have an easy link to give you, but if you do go on my Twitter, you can find it. If you go on my Instagram, you can find it. It's like where you can put your website or whatever. So, and all that is basically, it's one of, like, if you've heard of Linktree or all my links, where you can put all of your links. But it's, what I like about it is just really nice. It's just the way it put everything together, and it has like a fun, like, modern vibe to the whole Linktree design. So you can go there and you can find all of my links, literally. So you can find my Cash Apps, my PayPals, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you like to donate, the Patreon is there. Both of the podcasts, the Indoob podcast and the Love Blurs podcast, the links are there for those. All my socials, everything. If you want to find me, I am there to be found. Like I said, I would give you the actual address of it, but I don't. They give me a little bit.ly link, but it's not one that I can easily tell you. So I would have to tell you, like, capital E, lowercase I. No, I can't do that. So. But yeah, go to my Twitter at Indoob. You can find it there, or go to Instagram at Indoob. You can find it there. Since I don't really post on Instagram, but I'm going to try to change that because I want to help and promote my wife and her businesses, such as ashleyperry.itworks.com. If you're interested in health and wellness and want to, I don't know, maybe lose a little weight or just get a boost in energy in your daily diet and find natural or better, healthier ways to do these things. And you can go over there and find some stuff and make you feel better and do better and get better. So go check that out. I'll have a better like ad for it soon, and like something that's actually scripted, so I'm not just freewheeling it. But hey, I've learned a lot about this company since she joined, so I'm just kind of along for the ride. And soon I will be a product tester and give you firsthand experience of how I feel about these products and if they work or not. But I think that they do, because a lot of people seem to really like this skinny coffee. So we'll see. I mean, I'm trying to lose my 1 pack. I'm not trying to get a 6-pack, maybe just, I don't know, somewhere in between. So I don't want to be ripped. I just don't want to cut. Anyway, that's it for the Indoob podcast. I lost my script of how I say goodbye. Did you say goodbye? Did you want to say any shout outs?
It's so hard to say goodbye. That's all I got.
Oh, and then I could just come in and like, remember, baby, I told you I'll be back, or I won't, because I'm saying goodbye. Exactly. Just wash your legs, your face, bottoms of your feet. I feel like I'm being Batman right now. Undersides of your dishes. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
No. Let me try that again. No.
What I thought it was the ghost of Dangerfield Newbie, but just go.
Oh no. That felt like a ghost to you?
At first it did, but then you started singing. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's singing now. Because you do get low, like, oh, like, you know, like a ghost was coming in. So. Oh my god. Anyway, goodbye to every. Good night.
I don't know if it's a compliment.
It is a compliment because it amused me. I'm amused.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day.
Thanks for listening to the Indoob podcast, which was recorded from the south side of Wakanda in Little New Indubia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive, and is part of the Indoob network. Want more Indoob? Follow on Instagram and Twitter at Indoob, and on Facebook at IndoobPod. You can contact us and send Ask Indoob questions by emailing indoobpod@gmail.com. Want to support or donate? Find the TeePublic Store or become a patron on Patreon, where subscribing gives you perks and extra things from the Indoob network. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and share the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Podbean, and wherever else podcasts are found. And of course, visit Indoob.com for all of this and much more. Thank you so much for letting us entertain enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Until next time.
Use your words, Chief. Good boy.
This has been another 3SFX production.